welcome back to the Meet the Makers podcast. I'm your host, Jack Blanch, and right to the left of me is Rye Gerbrands.
Hello, everybody.
And welcome to the episode where I bully Rye a lot. We interview the makers of Ritual Coffee. And Rye, give us an introduction.
So yeah, Callum and Courtney run Ritual Coffee. They've not been going long. They've done some amazing collaborations. We talk about their ethics, how they source their coffee, how they drink their coffee.
So they've exploded in a very short period of time.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
Well, it goes to show what having a good product will do, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and strong ethics and being a foodie.
I was very excited about this episode because I'm a massive coffee person, and the reason why I bullied Rye so much, you'll find out. Enjoy the podcast, and hopefully you guys will get an idea of where your coffee comes from. But for those who are tuning in now, would you mind telling us who you are and what your brand is, and a little bit about what you do, please?
Yeah. So I'm Callum. This is my partner Courtney. We run Ritual Coffee. So I head up all the roasting and look after all our partners, and Courtney heads up all the Bristol aspects and the training.
Brilliant. Tell us a bit about how you came to be, and where did Ritual Coffee come from, and how did it start off? Was there a little bit of leeway before then, leading up to creating the brand, or was it just like, I know what I'm doing, let's go?
So a lot of lead up, I think.
A lot of lead up, yeah.
Yeah, and I think our previous careers weren't based in coffee, but was just always an interest for us, always a passion. We love coffee, we like the coffee culture, the coffee scene, but we both had probably quite corporate roles.
Very corporate roles and very unenjoyable.
And it's sort of, I guess it's your career sort of that brought us to it. Callum worked as an automation consultant, and some of his clients were kind of commercial roasters. And I think one of them was selling an old vintage machine. And that was kind of the spark, really, and it sort of spiraled from there, where we've had this idea about creating a roastery in this area. I think in Bristol and other big cities, you have quite a lot of roasters and really good, decent roasters. But sort of, towards Cotswolds, Stroud, Cheltenham, there was a bit of a gap. And we thought, we'd set a roastery up for this area.
And here we are.
Yeah.
So it's about a year in the making, I think, before, from when we kind of decided it was coming and it was going to happen, to actually telling people it was going to happen. And that was about a year ago that we had our official launch. So we, Courtney set up first, and the initial plan was that she would be running it and I would just be kind of in the backgrounds and stay in my job and keep that and have it more as a passion. But as it started to grow and develop, I couldn't really stay away from it for any longer. And eventually, after we got married, we kind of came back. Our honeymoon was pushing things forward, working on the business, and actually from those 2 weeks I never went back to work. And it was we had about a year, didn't we? So Courtney quit her job first. We got the roaster, and we started breaking it down, rebuilding it, a few kind of little tweaks to it, and then bringing in our beans, understanding our blend, what we wanted to achieve from a house blend that we've got in front of us now, and then really just kind of tweaking our roast profiles. We spent time with other roasters down in Cornwall and London, just understanding how to get the best out of the beans and how we can kind of develop our roast profiles. And then it started from there, and so we launched July, wasn't it? June, July?
Yeah, last year.
2019. And it's just been a whirlwind since then, hasn't it? It's kind of a blink of an eye, and here we are sitting in front of you today, but it's been an amazing year.
It's quite a lot to happen in such what I would consider to be a very short period of time. Have you managed to keep up with it all, or is it a bit mad?
Just about. It's mad. It's long days, late nights. But when you're doing something that you love and you enjoy and you're fueled by caffeine, I guess it's makes it a bit easier. But
I feel like this is a given question that I'll ask every one of our guests, but it's like, are you sick of the thing that you're making at the moment, or will you ever get to a point where you are sick of it?
No. Although I do drink less coffee than I used to.
Interesting.
I mean, I drink it every day, but I can drink 1 cup now, and that would be enough. I think because sometimes you have to drink so much coffee if you're sampling new coffees or you're trialing coffees with new cafes. You'll drink, 20, 40 like double shots in a day,
Crikey.
and yeah. So
That's
on the days I
extreme.
don't have to do that.
What's your blood pressure like?
Yeah. Through the roof probably, yeah. But
Yeah.
And you won Best Roasters in the Cotswolds, didn't you?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did. Last year, actually. It's
That
just,
was-
just come around again this year.
only a few months after our launch as
Wow.
well. And that was by public vote as well, so people were having to actually write in and vote for us. So that was quite a moment, very rewarding. And we're up against some quite big names as well. So I think for us that was probably reassurance that we were doing the right thing as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was a little pat on the back. Yeah, it was brilliant actually. With that. Really good.
Well, it goes to show if you have I think I've said this to you now 3 times, if you have a good product, you'll go the distance really, very quickly as well by the sounds of it. 'Cause I also know of your brand as well because I've picked up bags of it and given it to friends and things like that. But also after a little coffee shop opened on the other side of the Severn Bridge where I'm from, I saw them post on Instagram that they had a bag of your beans in with, and I'd been going there for a little while, and it was like, oh right, okay, it looks like I've been drinking this for ages, and you kind of make those connections. It's like the coffee network, if it were. It's like you get in good there, you're pretty much set really. Where else is your? Where else can we see? Well, where else have you supplied your coffee to? Is it just around here, or have you found it across the UK? Where are you supplying?
We're still fairly local, but we've only been going a year, and it's just starting to kind of pick up pace really in the last probably 6 months, just before COVID hit. So we've started around Cheltenham, and we just kind of gradually in concentric circles expanded outwards. So the place you mentioned there, Hip Social in Lydney.
Yeah. Shout out.
Yeah.
What's up, Hips?
Yeah.
See you
Love
soon.
yeah. Great little place, really
Yeah.
really nice, and they're probably our furthest away, I would have thought, geographically.
Yeah.
So we supply them a few times, and it's fantastic little shop. Then we've got others. We've started to move down east a little bit, down towards Oxford.
Wow.
But predominantly we're kind of centred around Cheltenham and a few in Stroud, kind of Stroud area. We've got a new one setting up soon, which would be nice to kind of see that
Mm-hmm.
all kicking off.
Yeah. How did you guys connect? How did you guys meet up?
I think it was through Instagram actually, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Was it?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was,
yeah.
yeah.
I can't remember who contacted who though.
I think it might have been me contacting you. Something I do. I'll sort of scroll through Instagram, do some research online, and then reach out to people. Yeah, I think I did reach out to you.
Yeah.
It might have been the other way, but I think I did reach out to you. But when we were doing the podcast with Johnny from Boutique Distillery and with Jack, you came up, so it seemed logical to get you both in. And Johnny was saying how when he was doing the gin tasting in the shop, you were both in, and I remember him mentioning you both to me, saying, "Oh, I just met this young couple, and they're really great, and they're coffee roasters." And then a year later, and you were selling it in the shop.
I don't think we'd actually launched. I think
No.
we were just
Just
in
about
the kind of
Yeah.
the preliminary stage before our launch. But we were kind of speaking to Johnny and just sort of you were chatting to him, and obviously Courtney quite likes her gin.
Drinking the dren, yeah.
So
Best gin,
yeah.
Totally.
She well, it was already a beeline, but she saw the kind of free gin begin where she was straight there. And I think I walked in behind actually with the dog at the time.
Yeah.
So
And,
left him with the dog,
yeah.
straight for the gym.
But
Yeah, but it's funny how these things, kind of come full circle, and the people that you meet. I mean, there's so many amazing producers and guest artisans in this area, and that as who are foodies, actually getting to meet these people and opening up that world, like for us, I mean, it's been fantastic. It's really exciting. It's
I think, like you mentioned with the network as well, there is quite a tight little network around.
Oh,
and
100%.
even a lot of a lot of the other producers in here, and the makers, they've become really good friends actually. Like Johnny and Tubby Tom and the rest
Tom.
of them. Yeah.
yeah.
Some really nice kind of.
They've
little
done an
group of
amazing collaboration with Tom. It's so
Oh, yeah?
good.
What's this? This is the first I've heard about it.
Okay, so it's a rub that we supply the coffee. Tom does all his magic on it.
Chipotle in our house blend in it, the house espresso. And
Damn.
yes, with like meat, we've done it on like butternut squash. Really good.
And cauliflower, it's really good
Yeah,
on.
really good.
Keep selling out. I can't keep
Yeah.
it in stock.
Yeah, it's called black coffee, I think. Yeah.
I haven't had dinner yet, so this is torture for me. Oh, great. Well, yeah, it's. I think I've said this again on other podcasts, but it's like because it's all of the suppliers here are locally made, ethically sourced, and things like that. It's like you can't help but have that kind of connection with those people, and well, yeah, I mean, it speaks for itself, really. So, I mean, of course, you're going to make friends with people, and of course, you're going to be well connected, and of course, it's going to sell as well. So, you'll be fine. How do you guys have your coffee?
I think it depends how we're feeling, where we are, and what we're doing. I guess we're quite spoilt now because we have access all the time to an espresso machine. So I think prior to doing this, when we went out for a coffee, like we go to a coffee shop, would it be an espresso or a flat white, because you can't really make that at home.
Yep.
But now, because we're so spoilt with that, I think my favourite brew method is probably the AeroPress.
Yeah.
So I keep it simple at home, just a nice black coffee through the AeroPress. I think we've got the Congo here on the table. Like, that's amazing in the AeroPress. There's real marmalade flavours really come through.
Just quickly describe an AeroPress for anyone listening who does not know what one is, because I know there's a couple of people who don't, and I think it's.
Yeah, okay, it's everyone, if you like coffee, everyone should have one in their kitchen cupboard. So it's a real simple sort of contraption. It's literally a plastic tube. At the bottom there is a filter which you put a filter paper in, and using a vacuum, it creates. You're probably better explaining it than me.
You just have
You
a seal,
yeah.
and you're just pushing it through and just
Creates a vacuum and it forces the extraction of the coffee through.
It's like a syringe almost. It's,
effectively, like
Yeah.
a large syringe.
I think most people have their first one or two coffees in the morning, and then that'll be it. So, but it's interesting. What I've started doing recently is I've been going to try different beans for different times of day and things like that. And there's like different kind of flavors and things like that. Would you be able to tell us a bit more about that? And I suppose if you're drinking something later on in the day, what kind of thing would you recommend, and what kind of things do you guys drink, basically?
I mean, coffee, it's like wine, but if you think about it, you wouldn't just drink the same wine all of the time. You wouldn't just have the same brand, the same grape. You would, depending on how you're feeling, you might go for Sauvignon Blanc, or you might feel like red and go for a Malbec. And the same with coffee. They have very different flavour profiles. Depends how you're feeling, what you want. I think in the morning, people tend to prefer something a little bit punchier, but you can do that by the ratio of coffee to water. So a lot of people talk about strength, and it's something the supermarkets have created, really. And generally what they mean by strength is actually how bitter it is. Most of the coffees that we roast are a light to a medium roast, so we never roast them dark, where you lose a lot of the flavour really, and all you're doing is burning the coffee. I think I probably prefer in the morning probably a filter coffee, or something like an immersion brew method like the AeroPress. And maybe later on I'll maybe have something like a flat white or a milk-based drink.
Now, since having training and all that sort of stuff, I very rarely have any milk in my coffee. And since going to places like Starbucks or Costa, you take out the milk and the sugar, you kind of realise how many places are kind of burning their beans and things like that. How do you guys import, roast and package your beans that would say is different from, say, a Starbucks or a Costa or wherever?
In terms of the beans that we choose, it'd be the quality of the beans that we're choosing. We're roasting a lot lighter and on a much smaller scale than Starbucks. So Starbucks, their main aim is for consistency, and from season to season, year to year, they want to have a completely consistent roast, and also quite a cheap blend that they need to use. So that's why they're kind of over roasting and burning their beans, so they've got total consistency. You can use cheap beans with a lot of defects in, and then you just take those defects out in the roast profile or the roast process. We, on the other hand, want to enhance those flavours of the coffee. We want to bring out the flavours. We want to kind of make sure that you can taste what you should be tasting and what the coffee should taste like. So we roast a lot lighter. We source, so there's 2 single orange up here. I think one's from Congo and one's from Brazil. They're facing away from, so I can't quite see what that is there. But they've been quality graded and scored over 80 out of 100, which means it's a specialty coffee. So we want to roast light. We want to kind of bring out those flavours, slightly different roast profiles for each of those coffee, depending what flavours we're looking to bring out. So the Congo, for example, is a much fruitier coffee. You got the sort of stone fruits, marmalade flavours coming through, really nice in a like the AeroPress, as Courtney mentioned, or a pour over.
Even works really well as an espresso as well. Versatile coffee, that one. Yeah.
So different coffees work for different kind of styles of having it, basically.
Yeah. So we've got an Ethiopian as well in our range, which isn't here today. Again, that's much more. That would work really well for a pour over, something like a V60 or something. Through espresso, you can kind of burn off and flatten some of those flavours and the intricacies that you want to taste in it, really. So it's lovely. We love it, but
and we might roast slightly differently as well, depending on the intended brew method. So for our espresso, for our house blend, we want it to work really well as an espresso. So there we're looking for that kind of medium roast. We want some body there, because we want that to come through, especially when you're adding potentially milk and things like that. But yes, something that's a bit more delicate, like Ethiopian coffees or coffees from East Africa, we might tend to roast slightly lighter, so we can bring out those kind of complexities.
What are you looking for when you source your beans? What are you looking for in terms of where they're coming from, who's making them, and how they're getting a fair deal from the whole thing?
So we look on 2 different ways there, depending on there's 2 different questions in that. So when we're looking, what we've got here is our house blend. We want coffees that work well together, which this is what we supply to a lot of our cafes. So we've got a few new coffees coming out soon in the next kind of few weeks. And they'll be getting more blends for cafes and kind of going up towards that. Then with our single origins, we're looking for something a little bit different, a little bit out there, something a bit more interesting. And then what we're typically doing is buying in 3 or 4 bags, 70-kilo bags, and then roasting them, supplying them off as guest coffees or in bags like this, and then rotating them to keep things interesting, to keep things fresh, to keep things exciting. And then on the term and the point of how we kind of ensure our farmers are paid fairly and are looked after, we're dealing on the specialty market. We don't go below that. So the farmers are having their beans bought on the quality of their beans. The importer that we use, Macanta, do a fantastic job in working very closely with the farmers that are out there, establishing relationships, teaching them and learning them how to improve the quality in terms of picking methods, in terms of harvesting, in terms of processing. And actually from that point of view, the whole food chain steps up a little bit. So the farmers are producing better quality coffee. They're then being paid more for the quality of coffee. It's obviously then better for us that we're roasting better quality coffee. You enjoy more coffee, and hopefully it's the whole market improves from that process, as opposed to on the commodity market where you're just buying coffee. You're over roasting it doesn't really matter.
It's traded on the stock market as well, so it's at risk to any fluctuations within that. Whereas we buy on quality. It's not a commodity.
Nice.
So,
yeah. Well, it sells very well in the shop, so I hear.
Yeah, it's very popular. Big gift at the moment. Yeah.
It was amazing. We did a few markets last year, didn't we? Coming up to Christmas, and I think just about everyone knows that someone that loves coffee, and it's a perfect kind of Christmas gift. And we did phenomenally well at some markets we did last year, which was nice. And it was nice to see the follow on as well when someone's given something a gift, they've liked it, and you could quite often see sales or online sales come from that little geographical region kind of cropping up over the next few weeks and months, which is nice.
I think that's the thing. It's when you get there's the return custom that is really rewarding. Like, then people have enjoyed it and they're coming back for more, and that's what you want. You do a little fist bump in your mind, like
there is a joy dance.
Yeah, a little.
There's a buzz, isn't there, when we get certain people that order
and keep
regularly and keep ordering, and almost to the week or the month or something, and it certainly feels really good from our point of view, and you kind of feel like you obviously never spoke to these people, you don't know who they are or what they look like or anything about them, but you do feel like you know them, and with their monthly order and the weekly order in some cases, which is nice.
Brilliant.
Definitely, for sure.
It's really nice to think what you've created here as well, that to celebrate all these. I mean, knowing that you're supplying is going to be a huge company. It's we're all small. We're all kind of very similar, and like you said earlier, we all have the similar ethics and values and interests, and it's nice with what you've kind of created here, that everyone's kind of supporting each other and building up on each other. And
for sure.
Certainly around Stroud. I mean, I grew up around Stroud, and you've kind of a pillar of Stroud, I think.
Well, we've been coming to the shop for years, and so for us it was an amazing moment to actually be stocked here. It was really just rewarding, and just a real highlight for us, I think, in our journey. Sort of creating the business, and it was a moment for us, and we're really proud.
So anyone listening to this who wants to pick up a bag of beans, where do they start? Like what kind of, if someone's looking to buy their first bag of beans after coming off of just filter coffee and things like that, and are looking to try something a little bit more specific, what would you guys recommend, and what could you guys tell us about each of your blends here that we have with us at the moment?
So if you want to look for a filter coffee, I'd probably recommend the Congo here. So that's on Rye's website, on the Made in Stroud website.
Where are we?
The Congo's here.
Yeah, I'm on closest to you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's a really nice fruity coffee that comes through really well. What will be stocked in Made in Stroud in the next few weeks will be our Ethiopian. Again, that comes through really nicely, and that's a bit of a lighter, a bit of a fruitier, more floral. So it's got sort of strawberries coming through.
Strawberries,
So by the time this comes out in October, it'll be on the shelves.
It will be on the shelf. I didn't know the dates there that we're looking at.
Great. I'm excited about that.
It's a really nice, really
Really
coffee.
nice,
Nice.
It's really different. We have so many people who come up who maybe were buying coffee from the supermarket before, maybe not even that, but they come up, they buy the Ethiopian, and they come up to us and like, that really does taste like strawberries.
Amazing.
So the flavour notes can be subjective to a certain extent, but there are certain kind of characteristics in coffee that really do come out. So Ethiopian, the strawberry is really prominent. I think with the Congo, the marmalade for me, like I find that very prominent. We've got the Brazil on the table, so that's quite a nutty coffee, quite chocolatey, especially when you add milk to the coffee. Like that roasted almond flavour is really obvious. And that's what we love about coffee, and that's what we roast to bring out those flavours.
I'm still getting used to the idea of having different. I had some peach aroma in my coffee not too long ago, and it was like you suddenly remember. Well, I think most people just kind of expect coffee to just taste like coffee. Yeah. And it's actually no. There's a lot more that can happen with this, and it's just incredible. It's interesting to try and find who does it well. But that's brilliant. I was actually going to ask what you're working on, and if I can look forward to trying something new.
So excited to try that.
We've got a lot of new coffees dropping in the next probably 2 months or so. We've got them all lined up. But we've got quite an exciting time ahead. Actually, there's quite a few big plans, and I've just stopped myself there because I've realised I don't know when this is going live or whether I can say it at this stage or not, because it's
probably towards the end of October.
Yeah, it's with solicitors at the moment.
Okay.
So
maybe keep them for now.
Things can still fall apart at this stage, but we've got some really exciting. Probably over the next 2-3 months, we've got some huge plans for where we take the business next.
Oh, I can't
awesome.
Can't
we
wait.
shouldn't start that now, because I really want to say, I really want to continue.
Tell us when the cameras are on.
Well, Johnny was one of our first guests on the podcast. And he had a pink gin that is now in stock.
Yeah.
But at the time, obviously, because we didn't know when it was going to be released, and he was still being pretty secret about it. He just. I think the podcast was the first time he actually properly talked about it, and like as if. He had it on the shelves already. Yeah. And I was lucky enough to try some, but I think he wasn't talking to any solicitors about it. That's Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming down here today.
Our pleasure.
Obviously, anyone listening to this can pick up a bag at the web shop at Made in Stroud, or they can come into the shop
pop into
on
the
Kendrick
shop.
Street. And guys, I suppose if there's anything, I don't know, if there's anything that you want anybody who's watching or listening to this right now to take away with them, is there any kind of last minute things you'd like to share, or kind of?
You know, it's like wine. You never want to stay the same wine. You want to try different wines. And
Experiment.
you said the flavour of coffee there. Coffee doesn't have a flavour. It's all the intricacies of it. It's all the flavours of it. There's a hugely complex flavour profile, and find what you like and enjoy it.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you so much for both of you for coming in. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure, yeah.
That was brilliant.
The camera's off.